The use of augmentative and alternative communication solutions for high-need UNHCR mandate language students. The uprooting of refugees, migrants, and asylum seekers is the most dramatic and educationally disruptive population movement of the 21st century, often involving long periods in and transition through several countries before individuals can return or receive permanent resettlement. This disruption has a significant effect on the learning ability of displaced persons. In addition, this disruption, and a lack of equality, impact the ability to communicate basic needs across multiple languages, countries, and boundaries at both a humanitarian and official level. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, is the international organization monitoring, supporting, and overseeing the millions of displaced people globally. Figures as of November 1, 2022, UNHCR, Global Appeal 2023, estimate that 89.3 million people have been forced to flee due to war, famine, or poverty, and are actively under the UNHCR or related mandate, with half classed as minors, under 18. According to the Home Office, the number of UNHCR mandate individuals arriving in the United Kingdom during 2022 gives the figures a human perspective. Immigration Statistics Data Tables, year ending September 2022. Afghanistan, 23,000. Ukrainian 130,000. Hong Kong 70,000. Asylum, migrant, and refugees from Africa, Europe, and the Middle East arriving via Europe, 60,000. Translation costs for basic needs are high, with the UK spending £750 million between September 2021 and September 2022, with an extra £23 million in ESOL English language classes, BOLT, 2022. Many of the mandated refugees have little or no formal education in their native language, and as the figures show, this has a significant financial burden to host nations. Can augmentative and alternative communication methods reduce costs and empower service users by quickly giving basic vocabulary? Alternative communication methods are the tools and strategies used to solve communication challenges for people unable to communicate using everyday speech. In the context of this presentation, a lack of common language and understanding is the barrier. Augmentative communication refers to systems that supplement natural speech instead of replacing it. The term alternative is a later addition as it became evident that non-speech systems were some people's only means of communication. As the name suggests, unaided alternative communication systems rely on someone's body to communicate messages. Unaided communication systems include body language, gestures, facial expressions, and sign language. The systems do not require any external tools. Body language and facial expressions are informal types of unaided communication systems. More formalized unaided communication systems include gestural codes, i.e. the AMA-LND is based on the Plains Indian Sign Language. Makaton, an AAC based on British Sign Language and used with children classed within the educational curriculum as having special educational needs and disabilities, SEND. Unaided communication systems are a possible solution to language acquisition for UNHCR mandate refugees because they are an efficient way of communicating. For instance, unaided communication systems like sign languages permit the expression of countless messages without the need to learn a complex second language. Another notable benefit of unaided communication systems is that they are available to users without the need for technology or common vocabulary. To assess UNHCR mandate learners, two related and critical factors must be understood, as previous education plays a vital role in acquiring an additional language. First, some arrive without age-appropriate schooling and may need to develop the skills needed for mainstream classrooms. These include social and cultural understandings, prior subject knowledge, and learning strategies. Second, due to limited or interrupted education, many have low or non-existent literacy levels in their mother tongue. Low literacy is especially notable in females from a traditional or strict cultural background.
Experts have studied and published the use of AAC in a particular educational need context. However, there needs to be more research on using alternate language acquisition strategies with displaced learners. Glennon, 1997, traces AAC back to Roman and Greek culture historically through its use as a tool in debate. Zangari, Lloyd, Vika, 1994, out of Nova Southeastern University brings the modern interpretation of AAC through the gestural system of hand talk used by Native Americans to facilitate communication between different linguistic groups. This Plains Indian Sign Language was a universal AAC method for communicating between tribes. The work of Gospina, 2019, in using AAC with Somali refugees in Turkey and a recently published study by the Journal of Innovation in Health Informatics tested communication methods with UNHCR mandate service users in healthcare settings with positive results. Miller, Jenny and Windle, 2010. Examined the challenges regarding the needs of low-literacy refugee background students. They argued that in students with high linguistic diversity, there is a need to reevaluate teaching practices and curriculum in a way that is more responsive to difference and which pays closer attention to insights from second language acquisition research. Extensive research examining AAC tools in SEN students has led to wide-scale acceptance into the education of methods combining sign and vocal communication. In addition, flashcards and vocabulary tools have become essential to pedagogical communication. Hasni, 2019, conducted a study using target group-specific flashcards with illiterate students. This study was classroom action-based research. It shows that AAC methods have a measurable impact on low literacy level students.
The use of augmentative and alternative communication solutions for high-need UNHCR mandate language students. Aim: what, if any, augmentative and alternative communication products can reduce costs and empower UNHCR mandate refugees by quickly giving basic vocabulary. Objectives: evaluate the language acquisition tools used by support workers to teach basic need-driven vocabulary. Investigate unaided AAC products used in SEND applications. Observe and record the use of language acquisition products by passively comparing student groups. Analyze the feedback of support workers using different products in student group progression. Present a reasoned argument for reducing the time and costs of UNHCR mandate students in essential need language acquisition by the use of targeted products.
Research methodology. Contextual inquiry. Passively observing groups of service users at a charity-organized weekly language class in the pre-established environment as they demonstrate their typical language acquisition tasks. A trained support staff leads the service users. The primary method is observing the ongoing mood of the groups, the retention rate, the frequency of attendance, and the acquired language used to communicate basic needs with support workers. Primary source research. Interview support workers engaged in language acquisition and linguistics experts from academia. Statistical data analysis. By using published data from national, government, and international organizations to assess the costs, constraints, and numbers of refugees, migrants, and asylum seekers concerning language and education. Literature review. Secondary research conducted by using a literature review targeted at the historical development of AAC. Secondary research into the use and deployment of AAC strategies and products in language acquisition, as well as the testing and trials of language methodologies with displaced groups.
Research findings. ESOL is the UK standard second language teaching method, and it does not follow a national curriculum structure as mandate persons are often moved through the immigration service. The modern version of AAC dates back to the use of Native Americans for communication with different linguistic groups. Service users under the UNHCR mandate have different needs from formal ESOL students. Unaided alternative communication methods have a historical background. Translation services funded by governments have a severe financial impact on the host nation's response to a humanitarian crisis. Many females under the UNHCR mandate have no or meager formal education in their primary language and are considered illiterate, due to cultural conditions. In early stage and critical needs,
ESOL language lessons do not support service users' urgent and high-need requirement. AAC teaching methods and strategies are accepted and supported academically in the SEN context. Direction of travel. Discover additional language acquisition tools. Continue the passive observational research of groups of UNHCR refugees and evaluate AAC teaching tools, i.e. sign language, flashcards, first words books and other no technology products. Secondary research conducted by using a literature review, targeted at the historical development of AAC. Secondary research into the use and deployment of AAC strategies and products in language acquisition, as well as the testing and trials of language methodologies with displaced groups.